Yo, what it do, family? It's your boy, the Expert Genius, aka XP, and I'm just doing this little video, to point out hypocrisy in this boxing talk and when it comes to media and fans. And I just want to piggyback off a video. Shout out to my boy, my bro, D-Lo404. He put out a great video talking about this, so I'm just gonna piggyback off of it a little bit. But it has to do with, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and, interviews and staying off of social media and not saying stuff. Now, let's get into the yes man part. So people are now claiming that Deontay Wilder has yes men, and now he's only doing interviews with yes men. I find that kind of funny, seeing as your favorite fighters and your so-called favorite fighter, Tyson Fury, they only seem to do interviews with yes men. Y'all probably like, hold on, has IFL or BT Sports or ESPN, all that, how are these guys yes men? Anybody can be a yes man. Look at the coverage they put on these guys. When's the last time you seen them say anything bad about them? They kiss these fighters' ass so they can get credentials and, more time to give interviews. Because if they say something negative or if they speak the truth, they're afraid that they're no longer gonna have access to these fighters. Case in point, Anthony Joshua. Eddie Hearn won't just let him do interviews with anybody. They have to be yes men. If you're not a yes man, or if you're not going to throw softball questions, they're going to keep you from them. And Tyson Fury, I don't know about Anthony Joshua now too much, but we're going to keep this on Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is surrounded by yes men. But even if Deontay Wilder is surrounded by yes men, why is that a problem if you don't have a problem with Tyson Fury's yes men? Why you have a problem with Wilder now doing interviews with people that aren't two-faced and backstabbing and only using him to build up their image? Well, y'all got a problem with that when Tyson Fury and y'all's favorite fighters are doing the same thing. And y'all want to talk about, oh, now Deontay Wilder is speaking and all that kind of stuff, while Tyson Fury, is not speaking. He's not doing any interviews. He's focused on the fight. Like D-Lo said, like my boy Drew Titan said, like everybody else said, Tyson Fury just did an interview a couple days ago. I think around the same time Deontay did the interview with my boy 78. So let's point out the hypocrisy in that. When Deontay Wilder was quiet and focusing on training and focusing on the arbitration, y'all had a problem with why isn't he talking? Why isn't he talking? Then at the press conference, when basically before the press conference, he told you he was no longer speaking to media because of how they've been portraying him and lying on him and spreading false information on him. He told you he wasn't going to be talking. The lady that was at the press conference, I forget her name, but she tweeted out that she had a conversation with Wilder before that, and he told her that he wasn't going to be answering any questions. But, he's mentally weak. He's weak-minded, mentally weak. But y'all say nothing about Tyson Fury when he cuts his comments off. Because he can't handle it. He cuts his comments off. But nobody calls him mentally weak or weak-minded. But, and I just seen this today, not too long ago, where people are now praising Tyson Fury for not being on social media and not saying much, just focusing on the fight. But when Deontay Wilder was doing that, it was a problem because he wasn't speaking. Oh, that shows that he's mentally weak. He's scared. See the hypocrisy and the double standards in that? Deontay Wilder do it, it's a problem. Tyson Fury does it, you're praising him because he's focusing on the fight. Where do we do that at? Oh yeah, that's right. We're in America. That's where we do that at. Hero in good old America. And it's kind of find that funny. And speaking of these two-faced media content creators and all that, we bring up Nestor Gibbs. Good old Mr. Nestor Gibbs, who went on a rant blaming Deontay Wilder for taking down his interview with Chris Colbert. Mind you, he has Deontay Wilder's number. He could have called, confirmed, to see if that was, Deontay Wilder's doing. Hell, during his show, before he started accusing him, he probably could have called Deontay Wilder on air to see if it was Wilder. No, he didn't do that. He wanted to go on a rant and, build up his brand more, shitting on Deontay Wilder when he could have picked up the phone and called the man or text the man to see if it was him or not. Come to find out, it was Chris Colbert that took it down because he didn't want the negative response or the negative attention coming his way. It's kind of funny. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I still haven't seen no apology from Nestor Gibbs. Mr. Nestor Gibbs that, tried to sue somebody over the boxing voice name when there was somebody that had the boxing voice name before him. They had their Twitter and their YouTube channel up in October of 2009. He didn't put his up until March of 2012. And only thing he did was change the E to an A. Mr. Nestor Gibbs, the same DEA informant who was, told by the DEA to purchase some narcotics from some people, and he did, to set them up to get arrested. Mr. DEA informant. That's who we putting. That's who y'all put y'all faith in. That's who y'all want to listen to. The Tekashi 6ix9ine of YouTube. How y'all doing?
Well, how are you?
Doing all right. Like I said, that's who we're listening to. The Tekashi 6ix9ine of YouTube. The messy guy that screws people over. The guy that uses other people to build up his content. Speaking of a guy using somebody to build up their content, Goodfella, in your intro, you got Deontay Wilder in your intro giving your channel props. But at the same time, you shitting on this dude. And you still believing that Deontay Wilder had something to do with the video getting taken down. But yet you got this man on your intro giving you a shout out to your channel. You shitting on him, but you using him at the same time. These fake ass niggas, man. Why don't you just make a whole new intro and take Wilder off? If you're gonna abuse his name like that. Put out false information or put out your little opinion about him just because it's the popular narrative. And in your video when the news first came out and I told you that it wasn't Wilder, even though you said you hope that it wasn't Wilder, but you know and you believe that it was his team. Kind of shit is that, bro? I'm going off on a tangent, but it don't matter. Let's keep it rolling. It's like, why do y'all hold Deontay Wilder to a whole bunch of standards y'all don't hold anybody else to? Why is that? When Deontay Wilder wins on the 24th, how many of y'all content creators that's been shitting on him, as well as old media, how many of y'all are gonna be begging for an interview or kissing his ass trying to get back in his good graces? How many? And if it's a problem with Wilder not saying anything, why are y'all praising Tyson Fury now for not saying anything. If it's a problem for Deontay Wilder, so-called now giving interviews to yes men, why isn't it a problem when your favorite fighters do the same damn thing? Why are we holding double standards? And most of y'all claim to be, unbiased boxing channels and straight down the middle and fair. Y'all call other people fanboys, but in reality, when it gets deep down into it, y'all are the exact same thing that y'all labeling other people of being. But this is your boy, the Expert Genius, aka XP. I've been on here long enough. Shout out to the LGBC, shout out to New Media, and like I said, shout out to my bro, D-Lo 404. Y'all should go over there, sub to him. Go over there, show your love and support. He got some dope content. But until next time, this is your boy, the Expert Genius, aka XP, and I'm out.